Very good morning, students. We have already discussed about a previous chapter called as basic concept of groups. Today, we are going to start a new chapter called as in classes and objects. Before getting into this new chapter, we will see what is the weightage of this chapter. Here we have totally 6 marks of in this chapter. The 6 marks are being divided as 1 mark from one question and 5 marks from one question. Totally you are going to carry about a 6 marks into this chapter. Before getting into this session, we'll see that what are the topics we are going to cover in this session. Firstly, we are going to see what is classes, definition and declaration of a classes and objects, key difference between definition and declaration, general syntax of the classes declaration with an example, and also we are going to see the access specifier which is being present into a classes. Firstly, we are going to see that what is a classes. A class is a collection of an object that have identical properties, common behavior and shared relationship. Once again I repeat it, a class is a collection of objects that have identical properties, common behavior and shared relationships. And once class is defined, a n number of objects of a class can be created. Class or user defined data type. Class are user defined data type. A class can hold both data and function. For an example, planets, sun, moon are the member of solar system. A class, we can also tell that a class binds the data and its relation functions together. Now, let us see what is class definition and declaration of a class and objects. And class definition is a process of naming a class and data variables and interface operation of a classes. We can also tell that class definition is necessarily required by the compiler to allocate the storage space for declaring entity. Majorly, the class definition is used to allocate a storage space for a declaration of an entity. When a variable is defined, it holds an amount of memory consists of several bytes for a variable. A function definition produces a code for the functions. We can also define a program element just once in a program because the definition is unique specification of a program element. The relations between the declaration and definition can be one to many. In some situation, a program element cannot be defined by declared. For an example, when function never invokes when it is declared. And another example is that in which the class definition it is not used even though it is being declared. And the class definition which consists of a variable declaration inside the class known as data members. The function declared inside the class are known as member function. I repeated you that variable declared inside the class are known as data members. The function declared inside the class are known as member function. Now we will see what is class declaration. A class declaration specifies the representation of an object of a class and set of operation that can be applied. We can also tell that a declaration is used to specify the name of the program such as name of a variable, functions, classes, etc. No name can be used in a program without declaring. If you never declare any name in a declaration part, that name cannot be used into any of the part of a program. The program element can be declared multi times. You can also declare the program declaration name for a multi times, and multi declaration can only be achieved when the different declarations are made using the identical format by using, and the declaration of medium provides a visibility of a program element for the compiler. The major key difference: the declaration process is used to make the program element visible to the compiler, and it does not require to allocate the memory. Invisibly, the definition is declaration that reserve a storage. In simple words, the compiler reserve the memory space for declaring a entity in definition. This is a major difference of keywords between the definition and the declaration. We'll see the general syntax of your class declaration and definition. Here we have a general syntax of a classes. In this general syntax, we can identify the name called as a class. CLASS. Class is a keyword followed by the user defined name. The user defined name is name given to the classes. All the classes will be started by enclosing a pair of brackets or flower bracket. This pair of bracket, which is to be in an open bracket, which indicates the starting of a class. And how to identify the closing of a class? The close brace, which consists of a semicolon, which identified that is the end of a class. In this open and close bracket, we have n number of statements. That is nothing but it is a class body. We can also tell that it is a body of a class. The body of a class which is used to declare the members. We can use the declare the members like data members and member functions. Once again, I repeat, the keyword class is used to declare a class. The class is nothing but a keyword. Class, CLASS, is a keyword which is used to declare a class. And we have seen in the syntax as a user defined name. It is a space where you are going to name the class. And class body is enclosed in a pair of flower brackets. And the flower brackets which has been opened, that indicates a starting of a class which has been started. And class body contains a declaration of members like a data and functions. Once all the declaration gets over, the class should be closed. How the class is being closed in the sense by using a closed bracket with the continuation of a semicolon. And generally there are three members of a class. One is nothing but a private, public and protect. For an example, we are going to represent a bank account. Here we have a small example of creating a bank details. And I'm going to create a class called as an accounts. Account is a class name, and class CLASS, class is a keyword followed by different members like a private and public. And also we are going to have data members and member functions. Data members like account, number, name, class type, balance. And also we have a member function like get data and display data. This is a small class which is being created for a small account detail. Data hiding is one of the important features of object-oriented programming, which allows the functions of a programmer to access directly the internal representation of class type. The access restrictions to the class member is specified by the label called as public, private and protect section within the class body. The keyword public, private and protect are called as the access specifiers. An object is defined by an instance of a class. Every data members of is specified by three levels of access protection for hiding a data and function members internally to the class. They help in controlling the access of data members. Different access specifiers such as private, public and protect. In the next slide, we'll discuss briefly about a private, public and protect. A first access specifier is private. A private access means a member data can only access by the class member function or a friend function. The data members or member function declared a private cannot be accessed from the outside the class. The object of a class can access a private member only through the member function of a class. This property is called as an information hiding. Defaultly, all the data members in a class it's declared as a private. Example, in a private we can declare n number of data members like member functions as data members. Once you have declared any member data or member functions in a private, they cannot be accessed by outside the class. Only we have a special function called as a friend function. Through the friend function, you can access the private data. Protect. Protect access specifier act as a private. The members which is declared using a protect can be accessed only by the member functions friend of a class and also by the member functions derived from this class. We can also tell that a subclass. The member cannot be accessed from outside the class. Protect access specifier is similar to the private access specifier. Usually, the data members are not declared in this part. Usually, the data members are not declared in this part. The member function are usually declared in this part. The public access specifier gives an access to the member function from outside the class. This part allows the program of classes to easily change the data members of a class. In other words, it gives a flexibility of reading and writing the data members of this class from anywhere in the class. We can also declare data members in the public part, but not 95% cases. The keyword public followed by the colon means that indicates the data members and member function that are visible outside the class. In other words, public access means the member can be accessed by any function outside or inside the class. The member functions can be accessed inside the class or either the outside the class. Some of the public function of a class provides an interface for accessing the private and protect member function of the class. In a next slide, we are going to see the overall topics which we have covered in this session with an example. Here we have a small example slide to create a class for the days. Once we talk about the days we have a different datas like day, month, year. In this slide, we are going to accept the data and display the data. Once you see the slide, the class is a keyword. Class is a keyword followed by date is a name of a class. Date is a name of a class. And the second line which is observed by the open flower bracket. Open flower bracket of a second line of a class indicates that the class have been opened. and the last line of a class which indicates the flower bracket is being closed followed by a semicolon. That indicates that it is a closing of a class. Once it has been open, it is a starting of a class. Once it has been ended with open flower bracket followed by a semicolon, it indicates that it is a closing of a class. Inside the class open and close flower bracket, we have n number of datas. The datas are being classified into two things, that is member functions and data members. The data members are usually indicated into the private sections. Like once you talk about days have a different data like day, month and year. These three data are being initialized in the part of private, telling that int day, int month, int year. These are three data or a variable which comes across the data members. And once you go across the public, in a public we have input data, display data. These two members are nothing but member function which is being initialized under the part of public. This is a small glance how to create a class definition and class declaration using a classes. Thank you. We'll see the next topics into a next class.